My name is Kabira, and this is Kabira Speaks. Okay, so codependency. I thought I knew what codependency meant, but it turns out I didn't. Not really until like 2 weeks ago. So I studied social work in college. Like I have my master's degree in social work. So that means at some point I definitely studied codependency and probably even had it on a test or two, but I feel like I just completely misunderstood what it actually was. So codependency, as I knew it before, is staying in a relationship with someone who is an alcoholic or an addict, and like trying to fix and change them. So I knew that before, but I wasn't in relationships with people who were alcoholics or addicts. So I thought, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And I think I had been getting the term codependent mixed up with enabler, which is a common misconception. So enabling is a part of codependency, but it's definitely not all of it. And I've learned that it includes so much more, and it completely describes me and my life and how I am in relationships. So because I do eventually want to have like a happy, stable, healthy relationship, I am glad that I came across this, and I'm going to take the steps for myself to stop being codependent. So let's talk about it. What does that mean? Outside of the staying in relationships with someone who is an alcoholic or an addict, it is the trying to change and fix a partner. It is putting the needs of someone else above your own consistently. It is fear of rejection and abandonment, and it comes from a low self-worth. So I check all of those boxes, of course. Let me see if I can explain this a little better. So my first relationship, well, let me back up. So I have parents who are married and have been married for over, I think, almost like 30 years. And it is very important to them and their sense of identity that they are married to each other. They are very close. They are each other's best friends. They don't really do things without the other one. And I have always admired and looked up to their relationship. I also was raised Christian, and Christian people tend to also idolize romantic relationships. Like a lot of the Christian friends I grew up with are now married and they have children. And I always thought that I would be married with a child by now. I'm 26. It's nowhere near happening, but I always thought that and wanted that. And I never really dated in high school. So by the time I was like 18, 19, I was absolutely just desperate for a relationship. And like looking back at my journals and things like that, I can tell that I always, kind of wanted to be in a relationship. Yeah. So anyway, I'm 19 years old at this point, or 18, I guess, and I see someone I'm attracted to. I get his number. We start chatting and then dating, as one would. But here's the thing. I had nothing in common with this person. So looking back now as a 26-year-old, I can be like, yeah, what did you guys even like? What was your shared interest? We didn't have any. We had no shared interests whatsoever. He was really into farming and stuff like that, and I was really into theater. And so like I would go to the farm with him and do like farmy rednecky stuff, or so I tried. And he never really like was interested in any of the stuff that I was interested in, which would be theater and books and things like that. It's because we had nothing in common. But still I stayed in that relationship, and I would have married him. That was my intention if I didn't meet the person who would abuse me and, change my life. But that's a totally different topic. But I would have never broken up with him. I would have married that person. That was the plan. Didn't happen. And I marched on to my next relationships. So while I was dating that person who I had nothing in common with, no shared interests with, I began neglecting my friends. I would spend all my time with the boyfriend and not with my friends. because that became like so important to me to maintain my relationship with the boyfriend. And a memory that sticks out to me, and this is like has codependency written all over it. So at that point, I was transferring colleges, and they were having like an event for new students, which was the All-American Rejects coming to campus, and it was free, and I love the All-American Rejects. So my boyfriend at the time, Dominic, wanted to go see Garth Brooks. So it was All-American Rejects, who I love, for free at my brand new college where I could meet friends, or Garth Brooks, who I knew nothing about, didn't know any of his songs. I could go see a country music concert with my boyfriend and his friend Smitty. So guess what I did? I went to see Garth Brooks, and I had a horrible time. And I'm still resentful that I went, that, oh, he made me go to see something I didn't want to do. But he didn't make me. I made the decision on my own and regretted it, but I did make the decision on my own. And that's just a small example. That's something that's lighthearted. But I have made lots of decisions through the years based entirely off of the other person and not at all for myself. And that's just a pattern of behavior that is consistent with codependency. So another thing about codependency is trying to fix or change the person. So you'll see that a lot in relationships where someone's dating or married to an alcoholic or an addict. But like I said, that doesn't apply to me, but this is what that looks like for me. So I will stay in a relationship that no longer serves me forever. Okay? And so I will say things like, I need this from you. I need you to do X, Y, Z. And the person will say, I can't, or I won't, or I don't want to, or I'm not going to. And I just won't believe them, or I'll think they will change if I just push a little harder. If I do a little bit more of this, then they will change, and they will change, and they will change, and they never will. They won't. And yet I still won't walk away from that relationship, convinced that you can fix or change the person, and you just can't. You can't change someone else's behavior. All you can change is your own. So that's another part of it. You lose a bit of yourself in codependent relationships, or you lose a lot of yourself. Like you spend so much time on the other person's needs and interests that you don't take care of your own. And then, like, at this point, I kind of am relearning who I even am, because I've just given so much of myself to romantic relationships. Here's a story. So just a couple days ago, I was filling up my tires with air, and the thingy-majig snapped, so all the air came out of my tire, and I had no idea what to do. I was on my way to work, so I texted my brother, and he's like, you have a spare in your trunk, get it out. So I started doing that, and I was like, well, I guess I'm about to change a tire, which I've never done. And someone came over to me to ask if I needed help, and I was like, yes, I need a lot of help. And he was super cute and sweet, and we started talking while he's changing my tire. And in the span of 10 minutes, I fell in love with this person, and I was like imagining us going on a date and hanging out all the time, and just like a bunch of mental gymnastics in a very short conversation with a cute guy changing my tires. I didn't really fall in love with him, not actually, but like it did like light up my brain, like, oh, you can have a crush on this person, and you can date this person, and this, that, the other. And I think that's just myself clinging to the thought of a relationship, because that's honestly very addicting to me, to be in a loving relationship, because it gives me a sense of self-worth. And I just so quickly was about to attach to this person. Luckily for me, I have been doing some reading on codependency, so I recognized what was going on with myself and was able to, like, hey, cab, slow it down. But honestly, that's how my brain works. That's how my mind works right now. Like, I get attached to people really easily, and I will completely lose myself in another person, because I am terrified of being alone. It's a lot of fun. No, it isn't. It's terrible. But yeah, knowing about it is the first step. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Clearly that's something I need to work on and work through, because I feel like a shell of a person lately. I used to be a lot different than how I am now, and I miss that person. And I know she's in there somewhere, or maybe even someone new that I haven't discovered yet. So if any of this stuff sounds familiar to you, there's a chance you might also be codependent, which is tough, but it's something that we can change if you want to. And I know that I want to. So we'll be talking more about that later on. I hope I sort of kind of explained it well. My camera kept dying. No, not dying. My phone keeps saying it's out of storage. So I had to stop and start a million times, and I don't know what I said, if I meant to say what I wanted to say or not. But codependency, it's putting the needs of someone else before your own, trying to fix or change them, and losing yourself in the process. So, and that's just some of it. There's even more facets that are more complex that I haven't gone into. But this is something that I'm definitely going to be talking about more. So stay tuned for that. Up next on deck, not in any certain order because I'm a very unorganized person, anxious attachment. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about emotional abuse and trauma recovery. Those are like the three main things on my radar right now. So stay tuned. And what do you guys think about this sweater, by the way? It's my sister Sierra gave it to me, and the collar is intense. It's honestly like not even warm enough to warrant such a collar, but it was too tight to take off, so I kept it on for this video. All right, thank you for watching. We'll talk more soon. Bye.